Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle. I'm having a mental breakdown, and who's here with me?
Not quite breaking down, but on the verge of needing serious routine maintenance, it's JD.
It's JD, and we got to the therapy portion within 30 seconds. I think that is a record, folks.
Yeah. Well, we got to the just general malaise and angst and complaining about the nature of our day-to-day existence portion, at least.
Yeah. I was just complaining to JD about a gigantic spreadsheet project that I have to do that I gave to myself as an assignment.
Right.
That's how today is going.
Michelle has a very interesting mental health oriented definition of have to.
Yeah. My brain says do this or be sad. Yeah, it is definitely my fault.
Well, I guess if those are your choices, do this or be sad, I can definitely understand why you went with do this. Do you just have a choice in there somewhere at any point to just not have thoughts that lead to these situations?
Well, when I'm working on a spreadsheet, then I can just enter a fugue state. So it keeps all the thoughts away.
Oh, okay. So the spreadsheet building itself is a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I gotcha.
There's no real trigger going on. I had a pretty decent day. My brain just said, nah, we're not doing this. So, but we are doing something, and we are recording an episode.
Oh, shit. Is that what we're
segue.
Doing? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about another movie.
We
if
are.
this is your first time tuning in to We Watch Shudder, first of all, thank you. We always like to do that up front. If you're curious about the name, we mostly watch Shudder now, but they couldn't keep up with us, and now we gotta take our business elsewhere every now and then. Not this week, though. This week we gotta slam dam bam-a-lamma. I don't even know what that means. It's late. I gotta work in 7 hours. Is it an original or an exclusive, Michelle? I think it's an exclusive.
I think exclusive because it was released back in April in Indonesia. I've had this one on my radar for a while.
It's called Dancing Village, The Curse Begins.
It is.
Which apparently it's an exclusive. I just verified. But apparently Dancing Village, The Curse Begins is a prequel to another movie called, what is it?
KKN Di Desa Penari. Yep.
Yeah, which I, first of all, did not know that this was a prequel until today. And so, and I did know it was Indonesian. I did not know that it was 122 minutes until today.
You got a lot of info.
Yeah. But so that's the movie we're talking about, Dancing Village, The Curse Begins. Michelle, you said this has been on your radar for a while. I had not heard a thing about it. You tell us a little bit about the pre-story.
Yeah, I wish that I had actually Googled this before we started recording, but this has set a lot of records as being the #1 box office movie in Indonesia. So it has been getting a lot of buzz. I have realized this year that I am becoming a huge Indonesian fan of horror. Joko Anwar had a mini series that came out on Netflix earlier this year, and it was kind of an anthology series, but did kind of loop some stories in together. That was fantastic. Timo, I always pronounce it wrong, but Timo Gianto, who did several segments from the VHS series that I like, and some upcoming movies that I'm looking forward to from him. So Indonesia is just one of those that has been sneaking by, but every time I watch something from that region, I really enjoy it. So when I heard that this was setting records as one of the most well-received movies, I definitely needed to have it on my list, and I'm so excited that it dropped on Shudder.
Well, I do want to point out, I did some quick Google research there, some Wikipedia research, is actually the previous film, KKN, that is the one that holds the records. And this is the prequel to that, but just a point of clarification. Captain Pedantic strikes again!
See, I should have Googled it.
Michelle,
I should have Googled
cool.
it, but I didn't.
You at least were in the right vicinity, right? It was just obviously like this is a hot sequel coming into a movie that had definitely set a precedent. That's another thing I didn't know until Michelle just told us about it. Michelle, I was doing my basic research there that you clearly neglected to do while you were talking.
Yes.
When you were talking about other Indonesian filmmakers, did you mention our boy Joko Anwar?
Yeah, Nightmares and
Of course you
Dreamscapes.
did. Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
Joko Anwar.
You
I
just
only
blanked
asked-
all of that section out.
Well, I knew you had the podcast under control so that I could trust.
So
that I
you
could
went into
tune
a fugue
out
state.
and then do some, because and let me
Satan
tell you
slaves.
the reason why I had to check that out is because I have the Dancing Village, The Curse Begins Wikipedia page in front of me, and you mentioned something about setting Indonesian box office records, and it says right here on this page that the box office for this movie was $50,690. And I was like, that can't possibly be an Indonesian box office record, can it? And no,
it's a smaller country.
26 million at the box office for the original, though. 26 million. This movie, and I was the reason I bring up Joko, aside from the fact that obviously, as you mentioned, incredible stuff coming out of Indonesia lately. This movie opened on the same weekend as Joko Anwar's recent film Grave Torture. So we got Joko Anwar's Grave Torture and Dancing Village: The Curse Begins on the same day.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Indonesia is doing. Man, if you haven't taken the time to look into those big names like Michelle just mentioned, Timo, Joko, Kimo, they're our buddies. We can call them by first names. That's how it works around here.
I do like the way that all those names sound together, though. Timo, Joko, Kimo. Like, that sounds like, oh, I didn't even realize, and now I'm realizing, like, if you follow that naming format, I'm going to like your movies.
You know, you got Timo,
I know.
Timo, and then
I love that. I love that so much.
We gotta anyway. Yeah, so I definitely was curious about this one just because I've seen some Indonesian stuff. Michelle, do you want? We didn't look ahead of time, but do you have a Descrippy script that's a good Descrippy script?
I do. I think the one on IMDb isn't too bad, so we will go ahead and do that one.
Is, by the way, sorry, that's not my problem. You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
That was very prickish.
You're
for
snarky.
No reason at all. See what happens.
No,
I have
it's
a very
fair.
stressful day, and a little bit of 10 years ago, JD is coming out, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Oh
anyway.
No! 10 years ago,
right?
both of us,
Oh, Lord.
you were an angrier person. I was a much more neurotic person. Like, if you know me now, you're like, you're pretty neurotic. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Angrier is what a kind way of putting it.
Yeah, sometimes I think like, wow, I can't believe that we're friends again, and it's great.
No, it's so weird. How did we end up in this place? It's great.
I don't know.
Awesome.
We
Anyway,
should just put things back
script.
with the universe.
This is also
Okay.
this is also the therapy portion. The whole podcast is therapy. We would probably both not be good people.
I've been drinking
right now.
wine, so I'm doing better. Okay, so the Descrippy script from IMDb. The village still holds many mysteries. Piece by piece of mystery is revealed. Sorry, I didn't read that in advance. Piece by piece of mystery is revealed, including the terror of the most feared entity, namely Badarawuhi. Dancing Village, The Curse Begins, Badarawuhi de Disa Penari, 2024, 2 hours and 2 minutes. JD,
Yes. Yeah?
I want to hear your spoiler-free thoughts.
You would like to hear my spoiler-free thoughts on Badarawuhi de Desa Penari?
Wow, you did better than I did. So yes,
Well,
definitely.
I've been practicing it for a long, long time
Oh.
just because I knew you wouldn't be.
Fair. Good. I'm very bad at pronunciating.
Yeah, here's my spoiler-free thoughts on this movie. There are things in this movie that I really enjoyed, but first of all, I definitely get the impression that I would have benefited from seeing the first movie before I saw this one. I get the feeling there's, not in the sense that I wasn't able to follow this at all. It's clearly its own story, right? I follow, but I feel like there's probably some context and some things there that would make more sense had I seen that film. Also, I have to say, I apologize in advance to whoever is responsible, but these subtitles are not good. Some of the translations in here are real bad. And to the extent that, like, I obviously don't speak Indonesian, but there's such clunky English that, like, I find myself wondering if they just ran this through, like, a translation AI or something, because it's really rough. And that made this a really difficult experience, especially being 2 hours, and then, as you know, having that issue. That being said, I did enjoy this movie. I think it's about 35 minutes too long. This definitely could have used an editor. But the horror elements are great. The gore is cool. It's not overwhelming, but when it gets going, it gets going, and it's effective. There's more. The same thing I like about Joko's stuff and Timo's stuff. I'm not real familiar with Indonesian folklore and mythology, so again, new voices coming in give me new stories and new experiences. So overall, yeah, I liked this. It was challenging to watch for its length and for the poor subtitling, but I'm going to give this one 3.5 skulls for the experience on it.
Wow. I actually did not think that it was going to be 3.5 for you. I thought it was going to be lower. I knew the length was a problem. I knew the subtitles were going to take you out because they are kind of clunky.
Right.
I did not know if you'd still enjoy it beyond that.
Well, and that's why it's, again, for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time, it's important to point out our ratings are always based strictly on our experience, right? And that's why I didn't come in lower, is because, first of all, that subtitles thing is not this movie's fault. It's not the movie's fault that the subtitles ended up that way. It definitely impacted my experience, but it's not the movie's fault. Also, it's not the movie's fault that I didn't see the prequel before or the first one before I saw this. That's not the movie's fault either. I get the feeling this might have been able to go up to a 4, even being a 2-hour-long film, if I had a little bit more to latch onto. It's very difficult to get caught up in the story and the characters because of how clunky the subtitles were. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I disagree, but I understand it.
Okay, fair enough. So that's enough of my spoiler-free thoughts. I babbled way too many words, as I always do.
No, you did not. That was a good amount of words.
Please, return your spoiler-free thoughts this direction.
Yeah, I had not seen the original. I did find out that it's available on, I think, Prime. I'm watching it through Prime. I don't know if it's freebie, my Shudder subscription. Ooh, does JD know?
No, I just wanted to point out I actually did look to the prequel, or the first film. I keep wanting to call it a prequel just because it came out first. It's also 2 hours long. And
it's 3 hours long.
There's like a director's cut that's like almost 3 hours long.
Oh no, I'm watching the director's cut because okay, we'll get to it. Hang on. So
175 minutes. Oh my god.
I
appreciate you, but I don't think I'm gonna find the time to watch that film.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was going to bring that up because after watching this, I did go start the first one, and I was like, JD's never going to fucking watch this. This is 3 hours long, and I just went with the first result that popped up on Prime. I did not know that I am watching the director's cut. I am not that far into it. I might go back and see if I can remedy that, because 3 hours is, like, that's reserved for, like, Titanic and the first-person shooter video game documentary that I watched last week. Like, that's it. Only those two things are allowed to be 3 hours long. Nothing else. Okay. So, Dancing Village, The Curse Begins. I had not seen the first film, and I actually didn't feel like I was missing out. I felt like this was pretty solid, and that I didn't need that additional information. It did take me a little bit to figure out what was going on, but I also credit that to not understanding a lot of Indonesian culture in general. So it was a matter of like, okay, they're going to this village. There's an elder. Okay, here's how like the family dynamic works. And here's how the sleeping. Oh, so she can't sleep out there. She has to. So like piecing those things together just felt a little bit more like I'm a dumb American rather than I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. I really enjoyed this. I think I might actually like watching this in the order that I am of watching the prequel first and then the one that came out earlier, because I don't know, maybe I'm biased because that's the order that I'm watching them in, but so far I kind of like knowing how this began. I love the lady who plays Badara Wuhi. We're just gonna call her Bada instead of me just constantly mispronouncing it. We've got nicknames for her now. It's Bada. Badarawuhi. See, and like in my head it sounds perfect, but I say it and it's not the same.
You're trying to pronounce too many letters. You gotta
Badarawuhi. You just gotta go. Okay.
That U is not there. Anyway. Sorry,
I wish the U was not here. Meaning me, not you. Okay, so anyway, Bada,
I
ma'am.
wish that I was not here. I'm sorry.
Put your microphone down. Let me give my review.
In a while. Holy shit.
Really? You haven't? Anyway, okay. So, Badaravuhi. Anyway, Miss Bada ma'am. She is so fabulous. I felt very aroused and creeped out by her. We'll get into that a little bit in the spoiler section, but goddamn, that lady. I love the story. I love, keeping it spoiler light, we'll just say I love the body movement of this film about a dancing village and the way that bodies move when they're dancing. I love the costumes. I love the story. I really don't have complaints about it. It was a little long. I think if it had chopped off a half hour or like in the first hour, if it took 30 minutes away from that somehow and then gave me the last hour in completion, I would be much happier. I think it had a very slow start, but there was still plenty of things happening that when I started feeling like this is getting a little long, like then they just like throw in a snake scene or something. I'd be like, oh, right, snakes. Don't like that. So I could still kind of forgive the runtime. I was debating, is this 5 for me? And I have to remember that my level is Mad God and The Sadness. They're like my 2 5 skull movies. And this is not a Mad God or The Sadness. I think I was just buying into the hype in my own brain of like, yes, this is as good as I had hoped it would be. So we are going to go 4.75, but I really, really like this. Nice. I was fascinated. It was a good, complete package. And I think in particular, like, I love dancing. So I think a movie about dancing is just like, it's gonna, you know, be exactly what I need. So 4.75 from me. Right, it's a must see. I loved it.
That's a 4.125 skull average. I'm pretty satisfied with that. I did expect that Michelle was going to enjoy this more than I did. She tends to be a little bit more forgiving of the kind of things that get in my way in certain ways. Speaking of which, by the way, Michelle saw Cuckoo in the theater the other day, and she sent me a message. She was like, well, I loved it, so I'm pretty sure you're going to hate it. And now I got to see it. But anyway. Yeah. So that's
it was the first thing that Jenna and I said to each other while leaving the theater. Jenna was trying to figure out how she felt about it. I was like, I loved it. And she's like, oh, JD's going to hate it.
Oh, well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. I do want to, anyway, we can talk about loots and that on the review episode when we get there.
Absolutely.
But, so that's our spoiler-free thoughts on Dancing Village, The Curse Begins. If you want to see the film for yourself before we spoil it, go do that now. Come back when you're done. Michelle.
Yeah.
4.75 skulls, huh?
Yeah. I'm actually surprised. I did not think that. I was hyped for it, but I didn't think it was going to live up to my expectations. I did not, because I hadn't seen anything from this creator. I just like other Indonesian works, and I was like, oh, that sounds good. But I'm surprised.
I did notice that this is a different director from the director of the original film.
I did not notice
Yeah,
that.
it's not the same
Ooh.
guy. I just happened to notice that. Anyway, we always like to
Yeah.
start this portion of the episode being friendly to those of you who apparently are just amused by listening to us be stupid once a week. Michelle will summarize the plot for those of you who did not watch the film, and your patron Saint Jenna.
It's funny that we've started saying that I do this for people who didn't watch the film, which is what it was intended for. But let's be honest, if you haven't seen the film, nothing I'm about to say will help you.
Saint Jenna, patron of Film Not Watchers.
Film Not Watchers, patron saint of Jenna.
Made for her birthday.
I do need to make her a t-shirt. Okay.
Patron saint of Not
So, there's a lady named Mia. Mia is the daughter of a woman who came from a village. The dancing village, you guessed it, it's in the title. And her mom came from this village where she stole a fucking bracelet. The whole thing happens because of a bracelet. Are you kidding me? The worst piece of jewelry. I have so many bracelets that I've gotten as gifts and have never, ever, ever worn. If you have ever considered getting me a bracelet, don't. If you've ever gotten me a bracelet in the past, the one you specifically got me, I love and I wear all the time. All the other ones, they are just in a box and I will never put them on. I hate bracelets. So the fact that this is all about a bangle, aka a bracelet, man, awful. If it was a toe ring, maybe I'd get the whole like curse happening if she like smuggled a toe ring out of the village, because like I need those to come back in fashion now. So Mia, she goes back to return the world's worst piece of jewelry because her mom is dying in a very, very icky and liquidy and beautiful way. And so she needs to return the bangle to the elder, but oh no, the elder died. So now she's waiting for some other person to show up to the village, and then she's staying with Rati, I believe, Ratih. I saw how it was spelled so many times. Rati.
Yes, Rati.
I believe. Rati, perfect. So Rati, they live with their mother, who is also suffering from the same very liquidy issue that Mia, that her mom is suffering from. So we got two very liquidy ladies who are very like, they're covered in boils. They are not keeping up on their skincare routine. That is for sure. Those girls, I'd say they need to moisturize, but I think like basically all of them is moisture at this point. So like maybe some other sort of skincare might be helpful. So then Mia, she goes to take a bath, and then, oh no, snakes. And that's one of my favorite parts of the movie. And then it turns out that there's this beautiful woman named Badarabuhi who she is just like, she makes Mia and Rati very nervous, and I felt very nervous being around this woman. And I know that they're supposed to be nervous because she's like an evil lady who like makes people dance and all that. But like, if that lady just came up and said anything to me, I would be sweating buckets. And if she was like putting her fingernails on me and be like, come join me, I'd be like, absolutely. Oh my God. Like this woman, she is the perfect amount of beautiful and terrifying. And that is what I want in any woman. The way she just stares them down. Oh God, I love her so much. She's so scary and so intimidating. And it's like, you know, she has a master's degree and that like she doesn't need no man. Like she is just happy being single and living her life. I fucking love her. So then they decide that they have to end the curse, and Mia, Rati, and a couple other unnamed women, because they're unimportant, they all go to do the dancing, and then begins like the best part of the movie, which is they take a smell of a scarf, and oh no, now they're in between two worlds. They are in the Ankara Muha, which is like, I don't know, where Bada lives. And then they're in the real world. And they are dancing until Bada will choose one of them. And then, so one by one, these girls are collapsing in the real world. And that means that they were not chosen. And then Bada comes up and she's like getting all touchy with me. And just makes my heart flutter. And she's saying like, you should stay here with me with all these creepy, horny men dancing around you. Doesn't that sound great? And like that part, I get it. maybe that room is not where you want to be. Maybe if those guys were like behind a door somewhere else, maybe then you'd want to stay. But like Bada's not very good at selling the whole like stay with me part when there's like a guy dry humping behind her. It's like she's just at Old Broadway. Like you can just be dancing on a Friday night. Those guys are I've danced at Old Broadway and that's what it felt like. So there's a bunch of like,
with the
and she's
fire. Holy shit. I mean, she's not wrong.
You guys think of any club and you've got an idea of what I'm talking about. Also, they play a lot of country for a downtown club. It's weird. Okay, so Bada's like, stay with me. And she's like, maybe. And then she says no. And she collapses in the real world. And they're like, what happened? And all of a sudden she's fucking brought back up and she's put back in it and she's dancing again. And oh my God, the way that they're just like, nah, bitch, you're back in it. And like springboards her back up. Oh my God, so good. So then basically she's just in this other world. And then all of a sudden there is a harem of dancing women all dressed like Bada Rawuhi, and they're all dancing and they have all been practicing for this moment. They are all choreographed. Nobody is missing a step. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, you should probably stay there. Like these girls would be your best friends. You know, they have nights where they all just do like skincare and brush each other's beautiful hair and talk about boys and paint each other's toenails. Like these, oh my God, like a whole harem of dancing beautiful women. Maybe you should stay there. But essentially, Mia decides not to, I guess, because of her mom or whatever. So then she goes back to the normal, boring world. And then I guess it's a happy ending. The evil lady got her bracelet back. I think the curse is put to rest for a while. I don't know. I was so disappointed that Bada Rawuhi was not going to get laid. That's why it's a 4.75 for me. If this had ended with Mia being like, yeah, I do want to wear the beautiful clothes and I do want to be part of your choreographed dance routine, like that would have made more sense. Like that looked like, oh, what do you have waiting for you outside in the real world? Your cousin? Boring. Anyway, Dancing Village. The curse begins. And my sexual awakening begins, apparently. This is, goddamn. Ooh, that lady.
First of all, Michelle, I do want to point out, you said something in there about how Badarawi is not going to get laid. But, I mean, she's just not going to get laid or have relations with Mila. I mean, Rati is still there, and all them other ladies are still there. But I want to propose an alternate theory, Michelle, about what that weird dancing hell is.
God, I love it. I loved it so much.
What a phenomenal sequence! Like, really well done.
I have a lot of comments about it. Yeah.
So far as like the tension of it, but I started to think, like, what could this be representing? And you are right. First of all, there is a very not subtle sexual layer to this movie with the way that Badarawi, like you said, addresses the two ladies. She's very touchy-feely. There's a very seductive element to it. Michelle and I have learned something about each other today that we share in common, which is I am also very attracted to pretty girls who could kick my ass.
Definitely.
That's like a whole thing. But anyway, I don't want them to kick my ass. I am attracted to the fact that they. Oh Jesus, that's where
drive
Michelle
me all
and I
day.
differ. Oh God damn it! But so like, what if like the selected dancer is chosen and she has to like serve the needs or desires of that festival of gross men,
and all the other girls are off having their girl time, watching Grey's Anatomy and crying.
Oh, well, Badarawi, at least, you know, I mean, she's like, here, you guys go. Like, she keeps drawing one of these people in to to just keep the bastards at bay for a little while longer. I don't know.
Yeah, proposal, kick the dudes out. That's the real problem. Send them back to the real world. Now, let all the girls just hang out.
Yeah, so you said you had a lot of thoughts on that big hellish final sequence. I know it's weird to go to the end right away, but let's just fuck it. We're
it's
here.
Just so
let's
good.
Talk about it. Tell us all your thoughts. I just thought it's hard to explain. I didn't have a lot of thoughts about it. I had a lot of feelings about it. It builds a lot of tension really well. It's very visually cool, as you mentioned. The style of dancing, where it's almost it's very contortion-y, and then it becomes bone-cracking contortion. All of that, I felt a lot of it. You had thoughts. Share them with us, and I know you felt it too.
I felt so many things. So Badarawuhi at the earlier part of the movie, I realized Miss Bada, I'm trying so hard. I can spell it for you. I'm so sorry.
Pronounce it how you sorry. I'm sorry, Michelle. I didn't make you want to make you feel bad.
No, it's okay. Names are so important to me. Like I used to really, when I was in HR, I would stress the importance of tell me how to pronounce your name. I will make sure everybody in this office pronounces it correctly. And it sucks when I can't be okay, Badarabuhi, please tell me.
Here's the secret, Michelle. Just pretend the U is not there. I sent you I sent you a pronunciation guide in the chat. Badarahui. They say, I was listening to it, they say the syllable at the end there so quickly that the U kind of just disappears or at least the more traditional. Badarawi.
Badarawi.
Okay. Badarawi, yeah.
I need to know this. I gotta know the name of my future wife, Badarawi.
That was my best
Mrs. Badarawi. Yes. Okay, we will. Miss Bada, future Mrs. Roller. Okay, so anyway, I noticed
John would be fine with that as a throuple. I gotta believe that. Yeah.
It would get me out of his hair, and that would be a benefit to him. I'm a lot.
You spend a lot of time in his hair? That's a weird place to be.
He does have long hair. I do like to nest in it like a parrot. Okay, so this lady, so this is a movie about Dancing Village where the dancing keeps the curse away. And I noticed very early on, before they had even really established much, that she is constantly moving. Even when her body is still, her hands are dancing. There's always a little bit of a rhythm to her, whereas she'll just be looking and her shoulders are shifting in just such a small way, and her hands are just at her side, and it's the only part of her that's moving. So there's always a little bit of a ripple of the rhythm, and I noticed that so early on, and then became hyper aware of it. So then later on, when we get to the actual dance sequence, the dance that they had them do, the 7 girls, is hypnotizing and cool and beautiful and creepy, and it's so many different things where it's not really a complicated dance, but it is very it's hypnotizing. I wanted to just it was like a snake charmer, which is kind of what Mrs. Badarawi bottom room, that's what she reminded me of, was very snake-like with her green, and there's so many snakes throughout this movie. And I do want to go see if she's a real entity in Indonesian lore, which I think it seemed like she was. Okay, JD's giving me a thumbs up, but I want to go read more about who is this actual person, or entity or whatever, because I'm fascinated, and I think there's probably some sort of thing related to snakes based on this movie. But when they get to the actual dancing, and then they're in that underworld, and I think the way that the girls are portraying their horror in their faces, but their bodies are still so gentle and perfectly in sync with what the dance is supposed to be. And then they get to the part later with the whole group of people, and it's so kind of like body contortionists, like you said, where they're leaning really far back, and then the one girl is kind of being flung, her rati, her body's being controlled, and and it's no longer like kind of this fun dance routine. Obviously it's supposed to be like scary to everybody, but I'm like, oh man, this is kind of cool. It's very like, suddenly Bada is not trying to entice, she is trying to terrify by being like, look what I can make your body do. So all of that, it reminded me a lot of oh my God, what is the name of the ballerinas? It's an Italian movie that was remade, starring the girl from 50 Shades of Grey, not Sinister. It's like one of your favorite directors. Strength of the Nest. Oh God, JD, Suspiria. Fuck.
I was gonna just sit here and
I know
wait.
you were.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
It reminds me of my favorite part of Suspiria, of just like your body being not controlled by yourself. But just, I love the way that they do the body movements in this. Even like the mom dying on the bed and like contorting her body, like all the bodies and like it all just like, it's unnatural and I love it. I want to see their bodies, more of them, please.
One of the simplest things about the dancing, especially in that final sequence, that was so powerful and impressive to me, is the way the performers maintain those looks of terror on their faces while they're performing these dances. Because I have to, like they have to be trained dancers as well as actors, right? They have to be, because the level of reaction and like the level of skill it takes to be able to just, okay, once I've got that dance down, now I can do whatever I want to with my face. I found that all very, very impressive. It's it just I loved that element of it. I agree with you that much like a lot of the like Satan's Slaves, the Joko Anwar stuff that we talked about a while back, I very much want to look into more of this mythology. I feel like there are interesting things here and little levels that I might have missed, little details that might not quite resonate the way they could. I did look here just quickly while you were talking, because I wanted to look into Badarahui, and I found this thing here. Where did it go? Well, I had a thing. There it is. It's a post on somebody's Instagram, but it says, the word Badarahui comes from the Middle Javanese Bada, which means persuade, and Rahu, which means come or arrive. Perhaps it can be interpreted to be to persuade to come. By its nature, where Badarahui often comes and tempts humans. Badarahui is said to be a very beautiful demon figure and is described as a snake-bodied dancer with a characteristic scarf, hence the huffing. I found that, like, I want to know what they're huffing in that scarf, because goddamn, that looked like it
Where
was
can I
a
get
pretty
some?
all right time. But a characteristic scarf and mystical eyes who can absorb the energy of anyone who looks at him. Interestingly, this post suggests him, and is sort of a I don't know if that's a like if there's any significance to that gender swap in the character in the film, or if it's just a minor detail. I'm not sure, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
So I was very
Their
impressed
name means literally tempted to come. Damn, girl.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I see. So, man, again, some very not just impressive dancing and performances there, but as I mentioned, also some of the gore and those effects in this, some of the spookies, I thought were really effective. Do you have any particular favorite moments among the gore and the spookies and the horror stuff in this movie, aside from the incredible climax? Incredible
God, I don't want to like sexualize people when I admire them for so many other things. Like, but
Michelle,
goddamn, this is a movie where she was deliberately sexual and
yes,
it worked.
I was gonna say, Michelle,
Whew.
the reaction you're having is exactly the intended reaction. Don't feel
I know.
bad. Be
I'm
honest
just like,
with
God.
yourself.
I can tell she is a fantastic actress and has many good qualities, but God, this was so sexy, and I can't get over it.
This is a weird thing to hear from a male voice, but
feel free to objectify her.
No, not you can be both aroused and respectful, is all I'm saying, and you're doing just fine.
Fair. Okay, good. This is a new feeling for me. Normally I'm aroused and I want to be disrespectful. I'm so confused. Okay, so
like, why did you do this to me?
Why? Oh God, she's got me Twitter pated. Okay, so
X-pated.
What?
X-pated. It's not
Twitter
Twitter anymore.
Oh my fucking.
Okay, get back.
Our show is over.
More dad jokes, stupid.
So the particularly good effects. I love the snake bath. I didn't have time, but I have to go Google how many real snakes were used in this movie, which parts were real snakes, because I need to know like how many actual snakes were in that water with you. Were there any? Was there at least one? Because one is too fucking many.
Oh yeah.
Too many. But then there's some like when they're just like slithering around on the ground where I'm like, I think these are real snakes. So I'm fascinated. I love creatures. I don't want snakes touching me, but I do want to know like, were those real snakes? Were those real little babies? I love them, but also don't fucking touch me and don't be in the bath with me. So the snakes, I love all the snakes. And then also just the two moms and what they become. It kind of sucks that this movie came out now, because last year we watched When Evil Lurks, one of the best movies of 2023, and it was also a very goopy demise. Ooh, and I felt like we had not seen practical effects like that in a while, and now I'm seeing it again, and I'm excited that like, holy shit, good practical effects, great. But I'm also like, god damn, I have to compare you to a different movie. You should have come out in reverse, because then I'd be like, oh, When Evil Lurks was good, but like they already did that in the other movie. But yeah, no, it's just I love it. I love a good goopy demise.
Yeah, I thought anytime you get somebody peeling skin, that's
I forgot about that.
And goopy.
Oof.
I of course towards the end, as we mentioned in the dancing, there's some real bone crunching contortion, including why can't Mila's mom, Ingrid, is that her name? Yeah, Ingrid.
I don't remember.
Her hand gets all fucked up in ways that were really unfortunate.
I forgot about that too. See, there's so much I love, and I forgot about how good the bone cracking goes.
Yeah, the bone is all really well done. One of my favorite moments, though, in the whole thing is actually right up front when they spend that first night in the village, and you got that shot, and we just kind of cut to it. And it's a sort of an extended shot where what it builds to is the one dude is asleep and the lantern goes out, and then the creepy dancy ghost thing comes up, and then as soon as the light turns on again, like he just disappears, and you're like, oh, spooky. First of all, that was really well done. The approach of the guy from the back. From like out of the trees, and then just in very, very blurry, and then getting closer and closer and closer. And I thought the disappear was really well done. It looked like it was almost a wipe. They didn't just do an edit and he was gone. There's more to it there. But what I love about it is something happened, and I had to go back a little ways, and I feel like there was something that I had missed. And so I went back, and what I realized is not only is that guy there, because I had recognized that there were some people walking in the background. They're like walking across a bridge or something. I need to go and check it just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure all those people walking across the bridge were more of those weird, creepy dancing dudes that were just making their way to somewhere, and that's the first time we see them, and it's so nothing because they just cut to that shot and they're walking in the background and they just look like blurry people. And I'm pretty sure that's what was going on, and if it is, that's one of the coolest, most clever things I've seen in a while, and I want to go back and find out. I really appreciated that a lot.
JD, I'm going to do something that you do every once in a while.
What's that?
I'm bumping my score up. It's a 5. The more we talk about it, like, God, the bone-breaking hands are so good. I was just like, I was thinking of it like, oh, the beginning, but like, God, that end really sells it. That like, fuck it, it's a 5. It's so good. I want more people to see it. I'm already looking forward to watching it a second time. I'm looking forward to showing other people Jenna this movie, and also, you know, just watching the snake lady do a little dance. Like, that's gonna be great. It's a 5. Fuck it. I've convinced myself. You've convinced me. I love this movie.
Sweet. You know what's funny
really
about
do.
that, Michelle, is
Yeah.
while we were sitting here talking about it, I was like, you know what, this movie might be better than I thought it was. And so I had two thoughts. I was like, first of all, I was like, no, I don't want to do that again. I just did that on one of the most recent episodes we recorded, but then I remembered it's one of those episodes that we recorded for October, so it hasn't even dropped yet, and it's not dropping for several weeks. But obviously I can't go as far as you can. No. But I'll give this a 4. I'll push this to a 4 and a 5.
It's so good.
As long as we've done this a couple times, though, Michelle, we're going to have to talk. Maybe we need to start putting the skull ratings at the end of the episode. It's only happened a couple of times, I guess, but that's like 2 or 3 times in the last month.
And that would not fix all the times that we have changed the the rating for the rating for a movie many episodes later.
You know, sometimes I get all in my head about that stuff, but then I remember that we also freely admit that our ratings don't really mean anything anyway, and the conversation is where you'll learn how we really felt about the movies. So, I guess maybe
also,
I'm overthinking
I don't
it too
care.
much. No, it's all a gimmick anyway. We just want to talk about cool movies.
Jeremiah Kip made me feel so much better about not loving movies because you asked me how I felt about the title Slapface, and I think I said it was stupid as fuck or something, and then he messaged us. It was like, that's fine. I can handle criticism. And I was like, oh my God, somebody actually made the movie. But I was like, oh, I'm glad that you were okay with it.
You just criticized the title. We were both pretty solid on
dumb
the
title.
movie. And I think when a filmmaker is like, oh, so they liked it and the only criticism they had is they thought the title was dumb, I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay with that.
I hope so.
If that's a deal breaker for them, well then I'm sorry, bro. I can't help you.
I dedicated that title to my mother. She died. Her name was Slapface.
Her name was Slapface. Your mother's name was... It's a long story. Yeah. Guys, if you are in the Fargo-Moorhead area, don't forget, coming up Friday, September 13th, we are hosting a double feature screening of Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams, a couple of Addams Family films. And holy shit, Toby Poser and John Adams are coming out to Fargo to hang out with us and watch the movies and chat with us after. We're going to be recording a conversation with them and hopefully getting some solid Q&A from the people who come in. Tickets are available right now. There'll be a link in the episode description, links all over our social media. It would be
on
really
our
cool.
website.
Yeah, on the website, WeWatchShudder.com.
Go look at the website.
Right up there at the top. Tickets are very, very, very limited, so if you're interested in going, I strongly suggest you pick yours up as soon as you can. 4 weeks from today, as we record this. 4 weeks. Michelle, I'm so fucking stoked. How did we make this happen?
I don't know. And it was perfect timing because I was just about to tell you I was going to Denver that night.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we figured. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, I will move my Denver flight to the 14th.
let me just do a quick change on this. Yeah, Michelle is going to a wedding, but she's leaving a little bit later. No, I'm not. It's not a wedding?
I'm just going.
Oh,
no, I'm just going.
Oh, the wedding is where you went the last time, right? Wasn't it? Didn't you?
No,
No,
I've had a lot of weddings this year.
I just assume the
not
only
in Denver.
reason anybody travels is for a wedding, is apparently
No,
what we've learned.
I grew up poor as hell, not able to eat. I finally have a little bit of disposable income and what is not allocated to the podcast. I decided I'm in my travel phase, so I'm going to Denver.
Obviously.
I'm going to go see one of the horror things there called the 13th Floor. I just learned about that.
Go
Very
for sure,
excited.
huh?
I'm like 90% sure we're going.
We talked about it on one of the upcoming Spooktober episodes that we just recorded a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so probably going to do that. And then my 10-year anniversary with John is coming up. So we are going someplace tropical. I'm not a tropical person. I don't like the sun. But I guess we might be going to like Cancun or like the Bahamas
or perhaps
something.
Jamaica. Why did I do that accent?
Jamaica was a possibility.
That was insulting. I'm sorry to my Jamaican brethren. That was real dumb and unacceptable.
Don't worry, it was a really bad accent.
It was terrible.
So you couldn't
Nobody
even
actually thought it was Jamaican until I said it was supposed to be Jamaican.
You were like a nerdy Irish, so I don't think anybody could even consider it offensive because they're like, that's not our accent.
You know, I just figured, you and I, like, I know John's got some similar interests to me, so maybe you'd like to go to Jamaica. I don't know if that's
we have talked about going to Jamaica
or not. I'm pretty sure they still have weed in Jamaica.
No, absolutely. We just talked to some friends who recommended, like, we were asking, like, we have never gone anywhere because I grew up poor. Where should we go? And somebody said, go to Jamaica. They have good weed. So that's absolutely.
What you should definitely do is, when's John's birthday?
November 2nd, the same day as my big fundraiser for the For Love of Dog Rescue that I spend all my time volunteering for.
Well, what you should do is you should plan well in advance, and next November 2nd, you should take John to Amsterdam for his birthday.
We could go to Amsterdam this year for our 10-year anniversary instead.
Oh, you could definitely do that. I mean, it's a strong compromise on Jamaica, which has the weed, but also the tropical element that you don't care for. So you go
and
to
Amsterdam.
And
I can go reenact Hostel.
Right. Yeah, that whole
I can go see where Hostel was filmed. That was in Amsterdam, I think. I fucking love Hostel. That's
Prague, I believe.
I don't know. It was someplace in Europe with sex. That's Amsterdam.
That's Europe, Michelle. I'm not sure if you were aware. That's the whole world, really.
I'm not. I don't travel. That's the problem.
I hate to break it to you, Michelle, but you don't have to travel to know that people be fucking everywhere.
That's true. Maybe I'll just go see our listener, Brendan. He did recommend, I think, someplace in Ireland. I didn't go Google what that was. Yeah. Yeah, just show up on, hey, Brendan, I am here now. I hope that you have
Michelle,
a spare bedroom.
I have a big plan at some point in the future when I'm independently wealthy, thanks to our incredible podcast that will no doubt someday make us world famous.
Hemorrhaging funds.
I want to go. So I have ancestors who I can trace back to a town called Tralee in County Kerry in Ireland. And I have like 3 different family names that I know for sure, and I just want to go to Tralee and just like I'm just gonna walk up to strangers and be like, hey, are you a Moriarty? We might be related. Are you a Flaherty? We might be related.
I have so many friends who say Ireland is their number one favorite spot to go. And I have some friends who have parents living over there now and a friend of mine who goes annually. So, yeah, we might have to do a We Watch Shudder Ireland trip because I've never been.
Irish isn't even like a dominant portion of I would say I have nothing in my ancestry that would qualify as a majority. I think Irish qualifies as a plurality, but even that is only like about 20. I am what you would consider a good old-fashioned American mixed heritage person. Mixed Caucasian to be I mean, I don't know. I got to do a 23.
Very cultured.
Find out.
I'm Austrian and French, which is why I hate Americans.
We're all sub-Saharan African, or not sub-Saharan, but we're all, African. Anyway, this is how did we get on this subject? Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShudder.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShudder on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShudder.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShudder.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.